A monstrous figure lunges forward, its face twisted in rage as it's violently struck by a blast of lightning. The energy crackles through its body, illuminating its features with a ghostly blue light as it convulses in midair. The force sends waves crashing below, and in that brief flash, the monster's advance is halted in a dramatic burst of elemental fury. A calm yet focused group moves toward their goal, analyzing the increasing number of monsters in the vicinity. The lead speaker notes that their destination is close, and the swarm of enemies suggests they're on the right path. Despite the looming threat, their expressions remain controlled, hinting at confidence forged from experience. Another companion, a red-haired woman, glances to the side with slight amusement as she remarks they may even reach the place before anyone else. Her tone carries a sense of playful competition, underlined by a quiet pride in their efficiency. Behind her, the path glows in the evening sun, casting long shadows that reflect the urgency of their mission. In a humorous interlude, one of the party members holds up a vial filled with crimson liquid, questioning if it's truly necessary to carry it. The casual grip and raised brow suggest reluctance, but the other voice insists firmly this is troll blood, a crucial potion ingredient. The contrast between the gruesome origin and the casual tone adds dry humor to the moment. The dark-haired youth responds with a smirk, acknowledging the potion's value but dismissing it as spare change compared to true wealth. His confidence borders on arrogance, clearly placing monetary value far above minor gains. His female companion sighs, amused and a little exasperated, stating it's no wonder he's known for his greed, an observation that seems to bounce right off him. The woman with auburn hair looks ahead while acknowledging the benefits of partnering with her dark-haired companion. She casually remarks that recruiting him has turned out to be a surprisingly profitable deal, her words light-hearted, but not without a trace of respect for his capabilities. In the background, peaceful greenery contrasts with their discussion of combat efficiency. He calmly replies that if they're finished clearing the area, they should move on. His no-nonsense tone reflects focus, showing no interest in basking in the aftermath of the skirmish. His expression remains neutral, as if this kind of situation is routine for him. Efficiency seems to be more important than recognition. He looks back and tries to estimate how many monsters they've taken down, guessing between 7 or 8. She smiles slyly and responds that she expects a good payout for their work. Her casual attitude contrasts his more analytical tone, suggesting she's already thinking about rewards while he's still tallying the damage. She playfully accuses him of losing his mind over the score count, joking that he's acting like someone obsessed with numbers. He counters that keeping track of his score is better than obsessing over wealth, throwing her earlier remark back at her. The teasing banter between them adds warmth to their dynamic, revealing a rapport beneath the sarcasm. As she gazes into the distance with seriousness, she reveals a deeper reason behind her ambitions. Her eyes focused, she explains that there's a personal motivation, something tied to why she's so driven to be the top student. This sudden shift in tone adds gravity to her character, hinting at a deeper layer behind her confident exterior. Suddenly, he calls out her name, Fernan, noticing something urgent. His expression shifts to alertness as he points out that something feels off. The surroundings are quiet, too quiet, and he's picked up on an unnatural tension in the air. His sharp eyes scan the distance, and he mutters that whatever is approaching isn't just random enemies, it feels like they're all converging toward them. The dark-haired boy narrows his eyes as he realizes something critical: the enemies aren't just moving randomly, they're all focusing their attention directly on him and Fernan. As the words "targeting us" leave his mouth, dark silhouettes of foes rush toward their position from all directions. The surrounding atmosphere grows tense as a coordinated ambush takes shape. In a stunning burst of energy, blue lightning arcs across the battlefield as the male lead unleashes a powerful area attack. His movements are fluid and brutal, slashing through multiple enemies in a single sweeping motion. Blood sprays midair, creating a chaotic contrast between his calm expression and the explosive violence of his strikes. More enemies rush in from the front, prompting him to launch himself forward in another rapid charge. The sheer momentum of his attack sends shockwaves through the air, and the ground cracks beneath his feet. The background blurs from the speed of his dash as his body cuts through the field like a bolt of lightning. At the same moment, a second figure enters the battlefield with equal ferocity. Dressed in sleek black and red, this attacker lands with a shockwave, signaling his entrance is no less dramatic. His stance exudes control and power, as if he's been waiting for this moment to strike with precision. A third figure dashes in, golden light trailing behind her steps. Her entrance is equally overwhelming, suggesting that a powerful third-party duo has now joined the skirmish. The golden aura wrapping around her hints at divine or high-rank magic, while her confidence radiates from the center of the impact zone. Fernan's expression sharpens as she recognizes one of the attackers. Her voice cuts through the chaos as she calls out his name, Alon Dohertz. Her narrowed eyes suggest personal history or rivalry with this new arrival. Tension spikes, as it's no longer just a random assault, this just became personal. A clash erupts as blades meet with explosive force. Fernan deflects a fierce strike from Alon Dohertz. Sparks fly as their weapons grind against each other, neither one giving an inch. The intensity in their expressions reveals this isn't a casual skirmish, it's a test of strength and will between equals. Their duel escalates as both fighters leap into motion, landing synchronized blows. The sheer power behind their strikes sends shockwaves through the ground, creating ruptures in the earth. The surrounding battlefield becomes a blur as these two warriors dominate the spotlight with lightning-fast movements. Alon lands in a crouched stance, scanning Fernan's position with sharp eyes and adjusting his posture for the next burst. His body radiates trained precision. He's not underestimating his opponent, even if he's confident in his power. The tension between them tightens with every second that passes. Fernan dashes in response, covering ground with blinding speed. Her form is agile yet deadly, each motion laced with purpose. Her eyes remain locked onto Alon as her energy builds, signaling she's not just reacting, she's preparing to overwhelm him with her next move. The moment arrives. Fernan charges forward, unleashing a burst of energy as their weapons collide once again in a thunderous explosion. The force of their clash creates a glowing shockwave that spreads across the field, as if the very air is being ripped apart by their confrontation. As the dust clears, Fernan emerges first, her blade pulsing with residual energy. Alon, unfazed, counters with a focused attack of his own. Their duel continues with renewed momentum, both fighters now fully engaged in a personal battle that could shift the tide of the entire battlefield. Blades clash violently as Fernan and Alon lock swords in a fierce mid-air exchange. The impact of their weapons sends shockwaves through the air, and their intense gazes reveal just how high the stakes have risen. Neither fighter holds back. Each strike is a calculated effort to overwhelm the other's guard with precision and force. Sparks erupt as their weapons grind along each other with relentless speed. The duel blurs into a whirlwind of motion as the fighters move so fast that the afterimages of their strikes ripple through the field. The power in their swings begins to carve up the ground, tracing their deadly rhythm into the terrain itself. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts as a figure radiating fiery brilliance descends from above. He raises his weapon high, flames surging around his form like a divine storm. The sky itself seems to ignite behind him, casting an orange glow over the battlefield. Fernan reacts quickly, shielding herself as the overwhelming force crashes down with divine intensity. The fiery swordsman lands with deadly confidence, his golden hair blazing like the sun. His sharp gaze pierces forward as if daring anyone to challenge his presence. His flames continue to swirl with controlled fury, painting him as both judge and executioner. The battlefield quiets under his presence. This is no ordinary warrior. A pillar of dark, crimson energy erupts into the sky as the red aura-cloaked fighter launches a terrifying vertical assault. His body is enveloped in spiraling infernal power, tearing through the battlefield with ruthless speed. Below, chaos reigns. Two opponents are violently thrown aside, completely overwhelmed by the sheer force of his descent. The red whirlwind crashes down like a meteor, striking the earth with a cataclysmic shockwave. The ground shatters, debris explodes outward, and a searing blast of heat surges across the battlefield. The ferocity of the impact sends shockwaves that leave allies and enemies alike scrambling for cover, stunned by the display of brute power. Amid the storm of fire and destruction, the golden-haired warrior remains calm and in control. His expression is one of smug confidence as he surveys the aftermath. With flames dancing around his body and his eyes glowing fiercely, he looks completely unshaken, like a seasoned predator unfazed by the havoc he's just unleashed. Meanwhile, Alon's figure emerges once again, his body now pulsing with a dangerous, darkened aura. His once steady gaze is now edged with menace, veins glowing beneath his skin. Whatever power has awakened within him seems to rival the blazing opponent before him, and the inevitable clash between the two is about to ignite. The dark aura-infused Alon rises high into the air, his body surrounded by a sinister storm of black tendrils and demonic energy. His hands are raised as if summoning destruction itself, while below, the golden-haired opponent unleashes a radiant surge of flaming power. The flames spiral upward like a vortex, forming a divine shield that collides head-on with the darkness descending upon it. The clash of these two forces feels apocalyptic, holy fire against unholy wrath. The golden warrior drives his burning fist into the ground with overwhelming force, detonating a massive explosion. The shockwave tears through the battlefield, sending soldiers flying, shattering earth, and engulfing the area in a towering inferno. The explosion ripples across the landscape like a thunderous declaration of dominance. Onlookers are stunned, and for a moment, it's unclear whether anything could have survived that devastating blow. As the smoke begins to clear, a black-clad figure steps out casually from the tree line, completely unbothered by the chaos. He calmly remarks that he had planned to stay out of it and simply observe. His posture, confidence, and untouched appearance suggest someone of immense strength, someone who can afford to remain a spectator even in a battle of this magnitude. A student complains that his teammates suddenly wiped out half the enemies that were tracking him without warning, causing unnecessary chaos. The golden-haired student responds playfully, while their silent companions listen, slightly amused and mildly irritated. The mood is tense yet casual, revealing underlying trust despite the friction. One of the black-haired students steps forward, criticizing the overkill and asking the others to dial things back. He remarks that such excessive effort doesn't suit their usual laid-back style. The golden-haired student shrugs off the critique, saying he just wanted to get things over with quickly and didn't want to waste time on weaklings. The conversation shifts as one of the students proposes ending things peacefully, though his tone reveals he knows that's unlikely. Another student repeats the idea of fighting fair and square, but laughs at the improbability of that happening, implying they're all too competitive and unpredictable for that kind of agreement to work. The group collectively realizes that there's less than an hour left before the test ends. They gather together, looking toward the forest path with concern, understanding that none of them at their current pace will be able to reach the final goal before the time runs out. The tension increases as they weigh their options. One of the students suggests a compromise. He proposes that Alon and himself take first place, while the rest of the students can aim for second. The tone is cocky but oddly diplomatic, as if offering a peace treaty that still ensures his team's dominance. The others eye him warily, assessing whether to accept or challenge the deal. With a sly grin, the black-haired student calls it a win-win solution. He presents it as the best choice for everyone and awaits their reaction with a confident smirk. His demeanor suggests he's not actually expecting agreement, he's just baiting them into proving him wrong. The black-haired boy, burning with fighting spirit, boldly declares he'd rather lose in a fair fight than surrender first place without even trying. His words resonate with pride and determination, and the girl beside him stands equally resolute, their auras flaring with fiery energy. The message is clear: they won't back down from a challenge. With a smug smirk, The golden-haired student watches the response unfold and calmly concludes that the negotiation has failed. His eyes glint with interest, as though he's been expecting things to escalate into a showdown all along. Rather than disappointment, he seems amused and even thrilled by the defiance. The golden-haired boy, now surrounded by his teammates, lets the flames of battle swirl around him. He raises his arm, brimming with confidence, and challenges Fernan directly. His tone is full of anticipation and taunt, almost inviting chaos to unfold. Everyone around him braces themselves for the clash. Fernan, unfazed by the opponent's provocation, calmly smirks back. With quiet authority, he remarks that the fight can wait for next time. It's a confident refusal, not born out of fear but calculation. He knows when to hold back and when to strike. His words shift the atmosphere and leave the other side speechless for a moment. The golden-haired boy looks stunned as he processes Fernan's composed retreat. That unexpected pause sends ripples through the tense crowd, and in the silence that follows, a deep, rumbling laugh builds, perhaps from Fernan or one of his companions, hinting that the real game has only just begun. A large group of students launches forward with blazing momentum, encased in a swirling red magical formation. Their synchronized movement and determined expressions signal the start of a high-stakes race or mission. Fiery energy bursts beneath their feet, creating shockwaves as they surge ahead, committed to seizing victory. The ground blurs beneath their rapid advance, and the surrounding trees ripple from the pressure of their speed. Their figures streak like shadows through the dense greenery, leaving a chaotic path in their wake. The forest feels alive with their movement, the tension mounting with each step. Suddenly, a deafening blast erupts as one of them strikes the terrain with overwhelming force. A shockwave explodes outward, uprooting trees and sending debris flying. The energy radiating from the impact point is wild and uncontrolled, a sign that this challenge is about to escalate beyond expectations. Another massive detonation rocks the field as the group continues charging forward. Explosions ripple through the land, cutting a fiery path through the dense forest. The students appear undeterred, focused solely on breaking through whatever obstacle lies ahead, no matter the destruction they leave behind. As an ominous rumble echoes through the trees, panic finally breaks out. One student spots something terrifying and shouts, "It's a threat! Everyone, run!" The sudden change in tone marks a shift from confident action to survival instincts, and their momentum now carries a desperate edge as an unknown danger approaches. A powerful impact strikes the forest floor with an explosive boom, sending debris and soil flying outward in all directions. The sheer force of the shockwave splits the earth, forming a massive crater that ripples through the terrain. The violent tremor confirms that the chaotic threat from earlier has fully manifested. Turning away from the destruction, the dark-haired boy casually asks, "All right, shall we get going?" His expression is calm and carefree, while the girl beside him is frozen in stunned confusion, overwhelmed by the ridiculous contrast between his attitude and the chaos they just witnessed. Her face is filled with question marks as she tries to make sense of his nonchalance. With the forest clearing behind them, the two walk toward a scenic mountain path under a clear blue sky. Despite everything that's happened, their journey continues undeterred. As they move forward, the caption hints at their goal reaching the summit or perhaps the next stage of this test. Their figures shrink in the distance, symbolizing the closing of this intense chapter. A grand announcement is made in front of a majestic gate as the exam proctors stand before the crowd of students. The older instructor congratulates everyone for their efforts, setting the stage for the long-awaited results. The attention of all participants sharpens as the ranking ceremony begins. With a formal tone, the results are declared. First place goes to Ruina Bershev and Fernan Philenbez. The camera shifts to the two, who exchange a mix of satisfaction and disbelief. Fernan stays cool and casual, while Ruina looks surprised and bashful, touching her cheek in astonishment at the unexpected outcome. Second place is awarded to Ludzer Schnein and Alon Brentz, who both maintain composed expressions despite the loss. The contrast in mood between the first and second place teams is subtle yet telling. One celebrates, the other contemplates. Ruina processes the news, her face lighting up as the realization sinks in they actually secured first place. Although she feels they didn't perform better than Alon individually, the result speaks for itself. She expresses mild confusion, still surprised by the outcome. Fernan reassures her with his usual relaxed demeanor, pointing out that first place is first place, whether they beat Alon or not doesn't really matter. Ruina begins to embrace the moment, her doubt replaced by growing excitement. Blushing with joy, Ruina admits that this is the first time she's ever finished in first place, and it feels absolutely incredible. Fernan smiles back at her, letting her enjoy the moment while staying as composed as ever. The scene closes on a high note of victory and pride. The red-haired instructor officially concludes the test, announcing to the participants that the evaluation has ended. He instructs everyone to head back to the academy together and warns them not to wander off, bringing a sense of closure to the intense competition. As the students begin regrouping, a mention of Ain't Armian sparks interest. One student remarks about how everyone knows him, especially since he made a memorable impact. Fernan responds casually, confirming that he not only knows Ain't but actually fought him during the exam. Ruina reacts with surprise, curious about the encounter. Fernan explains that the situation was unusual. He didn't realize it at first, but the intensity and drive behind Ain't's attack felt completely different, hinting at an unexpected depth in the supposedly weak participant. A short flashback scene shows Ain't unleashing a powerful blow that catches Fernan off guard. The flash of red in Ain't's eyes reveals a fierce determination, unlike anything Fernan had experienced in their match, lingering in his memory with startling clarity. Back in the present, Fernan suddenly becomes quiet, murmuring Ain't's name. His tone suggests he's still puzzled and intrigued, perhaps even unsettled by the strange power. Ain't displayed a power that felt far beyond what was expected from someone with such a low reputation. The final panel zooms in on Ain't Armian, his eyes glowing with hidden resolve. Mysterious system-like text floats around him as a voice confirms this was no fluke. Ain't has reached the point of surpassing human limits. He now stands at the edge of awakening something far greater, shaking the foundation of their expectations. A glowing vision unfolds as someone narrates a dramatic shift in fate. Ruina stands before a young knight who pleads, "Please be my knight," but she refuses to take his hand. A swirling prophecy appears, lines of text floating mid-air revealing a dark future with crimson skies, poisonous miasma, and a world-ending evil targeting Ain't Armian. The sky turns blood red and thick, suffocating miasma spreads across the land. Amid this chaos, a terrifying monster emerges, its presence overwhelming, symbolizing the end of everything. Its glowing eyes fixate on Ain't Armian, marking him as its prey, and the prophecy builds tension with its ominous tone. Before the monstrous force can reach Ain't Armian, a steadfast figure appears. A powerful knight, seen only from behind, blocks the path with unwavering resolve. His presence is the last barrier between the chaos and Armian, signaling that someone will defy fate to protect him. The narration cuts to present time as one of the characters gasps. The story changed? Shock fills his face as he realizes something critical has altered. Ain't Armian is stunned too, clearly processing that the prophecy no longer follows the expected script. Ruina steps forward with clarity and determination. She looks at Ain't Armian and says that while she refused him before, she now knows who he is and what he fights for. With conviction in her voice and purpose in her eyes, she declares that she will now become his knight. Ruina declares with unwavering conviction that becoming a knight is her destiny. She envisions herself as the sword that strikes down her lord's enemies and the shield that protects them from harm. In this symbolic moment, she steps forward alongside Ain't Armian, ready to fulfill her vow both in spirit and action. With powerful determination, Ruina charges forward directly at the monstrous force named Andromalius. As she advances, a blinding surge of brilliant blue aura explodes around her. radiating power and illuminating the battlefield. This stunning visual marks the activation of a greater destiny awakening inside her. The air is filled with cascading light as Ruina's presence becomes almost divine. Her entire body is engulfed in a radiant blue glow, and the ancient text surrounding her echoes her intent to strike down Andromalius. Onlookers, stunned by the transformation, realize something extraordinary is unfolding before them. Ruina, covered in wounds with a bandage on her cheek, opens her eyes slowly. She seems to reflect on everything that just occurred, overwhelmed but composed. Her expression is soft, perhaps touched by relief or quiet resolve as she prepares for the next steps in the battle's aftermath. Ain't leans over her, relieved to see she's safe. He clasps her shoulder gently and pleads with sincerity, asking her not to misunderstand his intentions. His concern for her well-being is clear, and he speaks with careful words, trying to express what's in his heart without overstepping. Ain't's eyes burn with intensity as he stares at Ruina, his expression fierce with purpose. He curses the forces trying to destroy both Ruina and the Bersha family, his emotions boiling over. His words reveal just how deeply he's been affected by the betrayal and how determined he is to protect her. Fernan explodes with rage internally, his thoughts filled with resentment toward the rich elite. The words, "filthy rich bastards," echo repeatedly in his mind as he seethes at the idea of being looked down upon. The insult about being a noble only fuels his fire, pushing him toward a mental edge. Overcome with fury, Fernan lets out a loud, unrestrained scream. Flames burst from his mouth as he unleashes his pent-up frustration in dramatic, exaggerated fashion, making it clear he's on the verge of completely losing control. As he continues screaming wildly, someone yells his name in concern, Fernan. This sharp call cuts through his anger like a jolt, grounding him back to the present moment and snapping him out of his outburst. Fernan's face immediately shifts from rage to confusion. He blinks, disoriented, not entirely understanding what just happened or why everyone is staring at him with concern. Ruina and the red-haired instructor rush over, asking Fernan if he's okay. They mention he suddenly collapsed and express worry that he might be sick, showing genuine concern for his condition. The group suggests Fernan head to the infirmary to rest. Ruina walks alongside him, joking that he might have pushed himself too hard using muscles he's not used to, trying to lighten the mood while still being supportive. Fernan narrows his eyes and internally realizes that this moment marks the beginning of Ain't Armian recognizing him as a true enemy. There's a sharp shift in tone. His thoughts are no longer playful or sarcastic, but deeply aware of the rivalry that has now been solidified. Ain't Armian shines brightly, radiating the aura of nobility and power, while Fernan glares at him with burning frustration. The sight of Ain't effortlessly being admired infuriates Fernan, who clenches his teeth and seethes at the idea of being looked down upon by someone so privileged. As Fernan reflects on his irritation, he starts to overthink the situation. He wonders why Ain't is suddenly acting distant and cautious around him, questioning whether something has happened behind the scenes. Could Ain't have learned something about him? Is there a deeper plan in motion? A new name, Andromalius, echoes ominously in Fernan's thoughts. As he envisions the green glowing monster, it becomes clear that one of the 72 demons is preparing to descend into this world. Fernan's internal warning foreshadows that this terrifying entity will soon emerge in the near future.